Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the stream here. I'm hoping you have a good day here. Mine's doing pretty good. My name's Robbie. If this is your first time here, welcome. I do appreciate you stopping by. It is Tuesday, so we're playing some Planet Coaster today. I've already got it opened, I've already got the game opened up, so hopefully we don't have to wait, or we don't have to wait on the load times like we have been in the past couple of weeks. And I've actually got us right in front of what we're going to be working on today, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Yes, I actually have everything planned out today. Already got the camera moved, already got the game put up. Kind of happy today. So, what are we going to be doing actually? Well, we got a couple things we need to work on. First thing is, we do have Thunder Falls here. That's what kind of the primary idea was for today's stream, is to try to get more of this done. Maybe, I don't know if we'll get the entire ride done today, but we'll get at least the station done and probably the queue line done. And that's what kind of my goal is. And if we get it more than that, we can always start on the ride itself. Now, if you see here, there's a few things that are a little bit different here. If you remember last time we ended on building the souvenir shop. I'm still going to leave it like this for now, because we're going to build the rest of the station today, just to kind of see where we can put this truck. Maybe it's going to stay there, but I might be able to add more to this and maybe make it a little more robust, so it looks like people are walking through the shop. Don't quite know yet. But if you notice that we did have a new sign, we actually had a Thunder Falls Expedition sign, and we do have this building here. So when I was thinking about building this queue line, the idea came to my head that maybe this is more of an expeditionary company that is now giving tours for the Thunder Falls region. So this idea is that just to kind of help the queue line a little bit so that it's not as boring. Well, we'll work on this one a little bit later. Still don't know how I want to do this one quite yet. I have a few ideas, but in here, you'll walk in here, and this will actually be kind of the history of Thunder Falls. It's kind of some of the ideas of who originally explored the area and things like that, as well as artifacts they have found throughout the region here. Kind of like if you think of a little bit like the Jungle Cruise, a little bit like that, where they have some storage here for supplies for the expedition and things like that. But they also have, but I'm also kind of leaning towards Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom. If you've ever been there, you'll know how the queue line is. Even if the shortest queue line, they do have a little bit of this, where they actually have the history of the Himalayas and kind of traversing Everest, and they have some things on display there and things like that. So that's kind of what I want to go for. So I'm kind of looking through here to see what might be of use to us. And I've kind of hit a little bit of a wall here. I don't know quite what they would have. There would probably be some artifacts of things like statues and things like that. So I might put a few of these around here, maybe. But like along the walls here, I think I'm just going to put some crates. I'll just look like maybe they're supplies, or maybe they're artifacts that have not been unpacked yet. Things like that. So let's go ahead and start with that. Give us at least somewhere to start off with. Anything larger? I know we usually don't go for larger crates, but in this case, it actually might be warranted to use some larger crates, especially for larger artifacts. Maybe something like that. Kind of line the back wall so the back wall doesn't look as plain, I guess. Something like this. Yeah. And I think I'll rope this area off. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just create a rope. If I spelled rope right, I did not. Let's see here. Something like this, maybe. I could use something like this, but it looks kind of... This looks more like something for a dock, I think. And I might do this up by the station itself. So I think something like this, though, would be more appropriate for what we're working on today. I'm going to get it to align to this surface here, and I'll show you why here in a second. And then if I move this, I really want to hit X and turn off position snap. There we go. Now we get something that's completely aligned with the wall, and that's what I kind of wanted to go for. Or that's what I wanted, so. Alrighty, let's see here. Now, I don't want it to be like too. Or I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to go for something here. I don't want it to be too much because this is still a budget area, still a budget park technically. You know what? That needs to be added. I think all this actually needs to be added to the scenery building here. There we go. Add and then edit. There we go. So yeah, I'll continue with this. I don't want to talk as much today. I want to kind of show you what I've been doing, and if you guys have any questions, I do have chat up. So if you guys have any questions, you can always ask me. But let's see here. I'm gonna go for some scaffolding pieces in here. Look really nice. As the post. You know what? Let's go ahead and line these to a surface too. Man, this game does not like me today. It's slowing down. I can see that, but it's not great. Something like this, and then that's not a part of the scenery group yet, so we'll have to add that in. Now I'll continue to print just this roped off area along here, and I might use these as the kind of the inner walls or the inner railings here, so that this area is a little bit more open, so that the side bits are what's actually on display. So that might work out the best, but we'll see here. That's not what I wanted. Line the surface here. Well, maybe not. Alright, well, let's do it this way. Do. Now I know we were talking about we had done like one stream of Prison Architect, and I know I kind of want to get back to that game. It's a trying to play it with the new like Clear to Transfer DLC, the free one. But then today, they actually released the new Island DLC, so you can actually build your own prison island, and that looks really fun. I don't know if I'll be getting that yet or not, because it's tempting. I think right now that's on sale. You can get that and the other one for the like criminally insane. You can get those, I think, for like $15 or $16, so it's not too bad to get those. So, let's move. Shoot, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to move just that piece there over. Just a little bit so it doesn't stick out of this wall here. Perfect. Alright, so there's that. So now we have our roped off area. We can put stuff on display. Now I did think, hold on, let's see if I can find, there's a Jungle Cruise-esque boat that is in this one. I thought about using that one. I thought about using that ride first off, but it really didn't work out. I was thinking about it. I'm like, I'd rather have a raft ride, especially since it was in the 80s, things like that. While we can have one of these maybe around, I think it would be kind of neat just to have one of these. Number one, this was the greatest idea that I think Planco did, was to actually add a maybe something like right here, is to add a boat in like that from a ride, so that you can actually have this parked around to look like they were kind of just either being worked on or things like that. I think that's a great idea. But I just don't quite think it's going to be what we're looking for this ride. We might put one somewhere, but I don't think it will fit the station here. Alright, so how do we want to do this? Well, we could put a few things like gears maybe that are like, hey, this is what we found over here or whatever. You know, maybe they found like an ancient machine that they were just kind of curious about, and so they took the gears out of it so that it wouldn't like hurt anybody. But who knows? Maybe this is just kind of the basic part of the story. They will turn a little bit, and they will go to stationary here shortly. Maybe. There it goes. Once it's done with its cycle, it'll go back to stationary here, so not too concerned about that. Let's see. That's a little too big for our taste. That's what I'm afraid of, is a lot of this stuff is kind of big. I might have a crash plane somewhere. That might be kind of cool. Just because it would be kind of the thing you would look at is like, oh yeah, this is what we fail. Maybe it's a past explorer or something like that. It'd be kind of neat. I am drawing a blank here. What to put in here? I guess what we could do is go back here. Hold on. Let's not put the gold ones in. I think we put some statue pieces in here, though. Something like this. We might have to sink a little bit of that into the ground so it'll fit in the room, but I still don't know how I want to quite do a roof on this place yet, but that's okay. Let's see here. Maybe we do something like, I don't know if I like that face. Heads this. Doesn't really look like a head at all. Maybe we just put things like this around, just kind of make it look like, this was a statue they found. Maybe they don't have all the pieces to it. Maybe they have just the legs, an arm, and a head. And then they're trying to maybe piece together what it might have been. Let's see here. Let's figure out how big this one is. Okay, so it's a little bit larger than I expected, but that's okay. I think, maybe some fireballs. We can put those kind of dotted around here. Maybe we can do something like this where we tilt one up on its side. I didn't say this was the best expeditionary company in the world, or said they were just a expeditionary company. Let's see here, something like this. Go. I probably need to move this a little bit more up. So move that, and then probably move it down just a bit, like there. And then what else do we put just to kind of fill this area in? If we can get this area filled in, I think we can. Let's see how big this one is. Not very. You know what? Let's also switch over to the pirate theme. Let's see here. because I know kind of pirates can really kind of fit in with things like this too. There is kind of a bit of an overlap, but you know, it's not perfect, fair enough, but it can be. There's some things that are close enough that you can kind of get away with it. Or maybe not. I could be totally wrong about that. I was kind of hoping that there was some more stuff in here. I could put something like this outside. Look at, unfortunately, if you want to tour the park, if you go onto my YouTube page, there actually is a video where I did that in the first episode. So if you just look right below the channel itself, there's a link to my YouTube channel. I think it's the first episode I did on Planet Coaster. I gave a whole overview of the park and kind of the story, and that took about 2 hours. That's why I'm doing that. I really want to kind of focus on this today. This one I'm going to get rid of. I think I can slot this right down in here, maybe. Yeah, it's like with those you can kind of skip through it, so like it's not the 2.5 hour tour that I gave the first time. You can kind of skip through it and see what parts you like. We're working on the 80s section of the park, which is kind of the newer section. This is kind of the part that we started last stream. So yeah, that's kind of the best way to watch those is if you're curious about how the park is. I do have all the streams archived on YouTube, so you can always go on there and check those out as well. And I don't expect you to watch all 3, and I think usually they're about 3 hours. I don't expect you to watch all that, because I spent like 10 minutes on the parking lot explaining how I did it. So fair enough. I don't expect you to watch all that, but I mean, it's a good thing to skip through. It's like, oh yeah, this is why this part of the park's this way, and like the story I came up with the boardwalk and things like that. I think it's really interesting. So always a great thing to go back and look. At least I think it is. So let's see here. What else could we add in here that would kind of make this look like kind of, I don't know, like it kind of belongs that they found something. That would explain why they send expeditions down into Thunder Falls. So this is kind of the part where it's a little bit hard to build some of this stuff because you're just trying to fill space. You really don't have a plan in mind, but you got to fill this area in a little bit. What we can do though, while I'm thinking, trying to figure out what I want to do. Oh, come on, computer. There we go. I just want to get all the rope put in. We can do that real quick. Let's see, do something like this. Get rid of those and that. Come on, there we go. Really turn this up like this. Hopefully it doesn't take too much more to get rid of all this. There we go. Come on. Luca, thank you for the follow there, sir. I do appreciate it. Come on. There we go. That might be an easier way to do this. Right, if I do that, come on. Give me that piece of rope. Right there. There we go. And we can move all this over to this side. I will have to edit the rope just a little bit, but that's okay. It'll give us a nice little barrier, I guess, to have people walk through here so they just don't pile in here. I mean, I could do a pre-show area. That'd be kind of neat, but Planet Coaster really doesn't have pre-shows for rides, and really this ride wouldn't have a pre-show per se. I mean, it might, but I really don't think it really needs one. But something like that. And then we can go through here, and here, and here. Let's put this pole up here, and then let's do a rope so we can figure out, we just kind of cut this area off just a little bit. that people won't just try to sneak through there. Yeah, like Sue. Like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right, let's see if we can continue to scroll through here to see what we can use to, you know, what we could do. Funny enough. All right, I got an idea. Because there's those gem pieces in the adventure collection. I think what we can do is add a few rocks in here, kind of like this. They don't have to be perfect, but you know, oh, that's gonna be a little too big there. Something like Sue. Kind of fill in these gaps just a little bit. And then what I could do, let me go back here, go to the content pack, adventure pack, go down to the gems. So we can find those real quick. Aha, there we go. So what I can do now is some of these that are a little more rough cut, we can actually kind of have them sticking into these rocks here. Like they found them like this. And maybe they found them in a temple, or they found them. You know, let's make this one blue because I like the nice blue there. I mean, they found them in a temple like this, or you know, they were kind of looking for this area, and this is what they found in the rocks. They had these really nice big gems cut out of them. I don't know that for a fact, but try to stick to this end of them. Let's do this one in purple. I like the. Purple gem, maybe in here. I can rotate this in. Or maybe they were trying to figure out why these gems were in the rocks. It looks like they were cut, and then they were thrown into these rocks here. So, I don't know, it might be kind of an interesting mystery for them to figure out what the world's going on. Do a nice red there. We'll do a green one on top here. This. There we go. There's that. And we'll have another one sticking down out through here. Maybe we'll make this one like a really, a really dark color. Or I don't know. I bounce back and forth. Like, what do I want to use? What do I want to use? Ooh, that looks really nice. Like there. Yeah, something like that. Something that they're trying to figure out why in the world these gems were cut and then put back in the rock, which doesn't make any sense. Maybe they were in a temple, and these kind of these were part of the temple, or a temple of some sort. I don't know. So we got kind of the what we've found so far section of the tour. Kind of the more interesting part. So this is the kind of the history of it, I guess. And so there was an adventure audio animatronics. Let's see here. There's like guys digging. Where is it at? Ah, there they go. So this would be kind of the history of the area here. So it'd be just, you know, it would look like people kind of maybe digging in this area for whatever it is. Let's put these guys on stationary because I don't really want them moving. Kind of like mannequins. I prefer more mannequins than audio animatronics. Because I got a feeling this park probably couldn't afford too many of those. Or if they did, they would break down and then they probably just wouldn't bother to repair them. Because kind of the idea for this park was it was a kind of somewhat Cedar Fair-esque. Budget-wise and things like that. So it would make sense that, you know, if... because originally, some rides at Cedar Fair or Cedar Point and at Kings Island didn't actually have some audio animatronics. Some rides did, I should say. And after a while, they just couldn't afford the upkeep on them, and they just let them go, essentially. There was a ride that, if you ever watch, there's a YouTube channel called Defunct Land. They do a really good episode on a coaster called Disaster Transport, which, by the way, is a great coaster name. They were explaining how like Cedar Fair wanted to become the Disney of the Midwest, and so they actually had 2 audio animatronics in this ride queue. And after a while, they just broke down and they just never bothered to repair them. So, kind of the idea of this park is they could have some audio animatronics, but really it'd be more like it would be more of the point where they have mannequins that look somewhat realistic, and then they might have like cobwebs growing on them and things like that. So, yeah, probably wouldn't be the most ideal thing, but you know, do something like this though. Essentially, I'm just making a scene that these guys can be inhabiting. Maybe we can even cover up the base of them a little bit so that they don't look like mannequins, but everybody knows they are, kind of thing. Something like maybe this. And of course, we can put a few crates behind them too. CR8. It's kind of like this. Put a couple crates on top here. Then I'll put some torches up. Might be a bit much. Ah, there we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Don't line the surface here. Ooh, it's supposed to stick up and down. I thought it was, or it's supposed to be on a wall. I guess I thought it was supposed to be up and down. Something like that, though. They'll look really good at night too. So let's get some like tents in here to look like they. If I can't spell tent correctly. To make it look like the kind of what they would have used to explore this area. Oh, this is massive. No, it's a small tent. You know what? See if they have. I think we put like a little Jeep here, or Jeep-esque thing. They don't call it a Jeep. It's kind of like a mix of a Land Rover or a Defender and a Jeep, which I'm okay with. I think that'd be kind of what they would use. So something like this. Okay, we'll keep it in the default colors too, because it kind of looks dirty and old. I think that's kind of what this area would be. It probably would have flat tires. Probably not that flat, but it makes sense. And notice there's another pole missing here. I need to fix that really quick. There we go. Then, what do I want to do now? I don't know. I'm trying to think what I want to do right now. We do have these big boulders here, and I think that'd be hilarious to have just like, maybe they found this as they were exploring maybe a little bit. And let's see, let's put it stationary, so we'll keep that one there, but maybe there's another one on the ride. We might put that one in somewhere. Because right now this will actually roll, I think. And almost hit some of our guests, which is not a good idea, but, usually even if you put things in stationary, they will, just hit loop. Might have to rotate that one a little bit around. I'm going to have to just a little bit here. something like this. Hopefully that'll be the correct spot for it. Because these guests right here probably are going crazy right now because they keep getting hit by this big boulder. I mean, it's hilarious, but if that ball is not going to stop moving, we're gonna have issues. JSSI Joker, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Looks like it finally stopped moving, which I think... Yep, hold on, there it goes again. Do I have it on stationary still? Don't know if I do or not. Put it on stationary, so it should stay put. Alright, well, we got it at least set up here. We got a little bit more area to fill in. You know what, we can put like a rowboat. Like I know there was a rowboat there. I'm doing pretty good, Joker. Thank you. Let's see here. Boat. We're just building on our River Rapids ride. We're actually doing the queue line right now for our Thunder Falls Expedition Company. It's kind of the idea of what we got going on right now. So we're kind of setting up the the history of Thunder Falls and kind of the display area for this ride. Do something like this. Kind of make it look a little bit off skew. There we go. I'll figure out something to put in here. Oh, you know what? We can put crates. Crates, or let's see, these are like boxes maybe, or barrels. We can put any barrels up. Let's put some barrels up. For some reason, it seems like it always seems like these rides like this, have just random crates and barrels just hanging around. It's not really I need anything built. I'm trying to come up with some ideas for this ride. That's kind of the issue. I have an idea, like a generic idea for this ride, is kind of like or the queue at least, is a Expedition Everest and Jungle Cruise kind of meshed together is kind of the idea. So that's kind of the idea for the queue line at least. The actual theme for the ride is, you're going on an expedition to explore these falls, kind of like excuse me, like a Maiden of the Mist. If you've ever been up to like Niagara Falls or something like that, they do tours up to the falls themselves, and you can pretty much get right under them. And that's kind of the idea with this one. But things are going to go awry like every good ride should, and then it kind of becomes a little bit more of a thrill ride. And it's kind of the idea behind it. Kind of, I guess, in the lore of the park, when the new owners were building this part of the park, they kind of wanted to do a little more theming than because this would have been built in the 80s. Technically, River Rapids rides started coming out in 1985, and so you would start seeing things like this. This would probably be like the 86 or 87. So they would have saw how well Disney was doing, and by this point, they already, like, Disney World would have been started. They'd have at least the Magic Kingdom and Epcot open. I think, hold on, I'm trying to think. Epcot opened in 1984 or 86. I don't remember. It was one of those 2 years. It was right in there. So they would have seen how well theming can do in a park. So they would have probably maybe, bumped up the budget on this one to kind of show off, or to kind of see if they can, work, it's not, they can do, they can try their hand at theming. And maybe this went well, or maybe this didn't. I don't know quite yet how I want to do this. I think it looks rather nice so far, but once again, this park isn't perfect, and that's kind of the idea. Is that maybe they don't quite have Disney dollars. They don't have that kind of money, but they still want to make a nice park that maybe some locals and some people from the surrounding areas can come in and enjoy. All right, well, it looks like this is all taken care of. I like how that looks. We do need to put some floor in here because I don't like the grass poking up through there. So what I'll do is kind of what we've done for a couple other things. So let's do not torch, we'll do temple pieces here. I want to do this one here to align this to surface, something like this. And I've done this for a couple other places too as well. So, you know what? Let's actually do this in a nice like tan. Make it look a little bit Yeah, not like dirty, but I want to make it look like a little bit older place. That might work. Let's see how that looks. I'm just kind of sink it into the ground here. Pull this over here. And something like this. We'll just continue. Well, you know what? We'll go this way with this one. Now you can kind of get the idea of how I like doing the flooring here. Something like this. Let's do something like this across. We'll fill in all this area here. Come on. There we go. I do 1 or 2 more rows like this. Just a little bit more on this side here. I think we'll have to just kind of edit this row here of them, which is totally fine here. We'll just kind of move these up just a little bit. Follow suit with these. So I'll kind of break up the lines as well so it doesn't look like they're all... shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. Well, it doesn't look like they're all just kind of one big pad here. I kind of want to break them up just a little bit here. Something like this. Oh crap, I moved our boulder here. Need to move that back. There we go. Now this looks, I think this looks a little bit better. It actually looks like there's a floor on there and things like that. Yeah. I think it looks a little bit nicer because it looks like it doesn't have the grass in there. It doesn't have the edge of the path, anything like that. It looks like they poured a slab of concrete here. They added the poles in so that they can have a queue line. That's kind of the idea I want. If you look at most rides, they're like that too. So, drink of water here. Let's actually go ahead. I think what I'm going to do, because I think it'd be hilarious, is, to me, this is kind of not like a campy company. It's a company that, I mean, they care about this place. They want to make sure that they take care of, you know, the expeditions, things like that properly. But the queue lines here would have been like, they would have put like fake vines and stuff like that around the place, just so that it looks like, you know, this is going to be a huge adventure because they got these out of a jungle or whatever. You know, I think this is kind of what they would do, is add these kind of fake vines that on the walls here. Let's see if there's anything bigger than that. Not really. Yeah, I think this will help a little bit too. Just kind of make the walls not look as bland as they were. Something like this. And then let's add in the smaller ones here too. This one a little bit better on this one. Do something like this. Yeah, something like this. Just kind of string them along like here. So I mean, so it doesn't completely mess up the wall here, but it does add a little bit of something to it. That I think it looks rather nice. We'll do a couple of vines, you know, like curtains, I think they call them. Something like this along the top here. Along this way. And then we can go ahead and just kind of copy this kind of section here. Maybe. Get rid of the wall sections. There's 5 included here. There's something like this. And one more across, like that. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Just kind of this. It's only going to be behind this wall and the wall that's kind of here. So I think it looks kind of nice, just to make it look a little bit more adventure-y. You know, that's kind of what they would be going for. Maybe they kind of missed a little bit because they put way too many vines up when that happens. So that's kind of the idea of it. So let's go ahead and kind of replicate that on this side. I've really don't want to copy it on this side because, you know, they wouldn't exactly have the exact same vines everywhere, so. Something like this. And we'll come back here with the 4-meter section ones and just kind of decorate it up just a little bit more. I don't think I'll do the curtains on this side. I think I'll leave it just kind of a little more bare on this side, but that's okay. JSI Joker, thanks for following, sir. I do appreciate that. I really don't need anything built right this second here. Maybe if I think of something, I might, you know, reach out and say, hey, I might need this built. But you know, it's just something that it's more spur of the moment things I'm thinking of that I want. So if I think of something, I'll reach out, sir. I do appreciate it too. So yeah, I think this is kind of what our adventure area is going to look like for this. I just came up with this idea about maybe 20 minutes before the stream, just to do this first theming area. That's why some of the stuff I have, like, all right, this is what I want to do, something to like, let's just jump in and see what we can do. And so this is, honestly, this is not looking too bad for what it is. I think we need to start putting a roof on it, which I dread because in this game, for some reason, I cannot do roofs for the life of me. Fair enough. The one on Shockwave, the station of Shockwave, is not too bad. But that took me probably a good 45 minutes to figure out. So I think it's limestone what we were looking on. Lime. Yes, I believe this was it. Yeah, limestone plaster wall. Well, let's do a 2-meter slope here. Let's see what we can get away with here. Let's do something like that. Because I don't know, do I want to do something like this and do this, kind of do like a double pitch roof here and here and leave that spot open, well, not open in the middle, but it'll be do something like this. That might look kind of neat. Now this side I will have to do a little bit of I might do an awning to cover up this area. Maybe make it like just some computer area or something like that for, you know, maintenance wise. But I might do something like that. That might work out pretty well. So let's look at kind of the actual roofs themselves. See what we can get. I really don't know what would be kind of on these kind of roofs. Maybe something like see how this looks. It's kind of scalloped roof look. Let's just try that. The outside doesn't look too bad. The inside's what I'm kind of concerned about. It's not great, I'll be honest with you. What if we, hold on. What if we raised this middle one here? So let's do something like this. So let's, something like this. I misaligned that one. I believe it did, yeah. Let's see here. Something like that. That's still not aligned. And I still think I missed there. I cannot for the life of me line anything up today. That's not going to be great. Alright, that one's probably misaligned too, so that makes sense. There we go. So now I... Not a big fan of that, to be honest with you. I kind of want to keep this building a little bit shorter. What if we did something like this, though? Bring this up to, like, here. I will have to change pieces out, so let me go back and get the limestone plaster. Limestone. So what I'm thinking here... that's castle. Where is the limestone at? Oh, that's why it's called lime plaster, not limestone. That makes more sense. Let's see. This is what I'm thinking here. So I would use something like this. And I need the 1 meter piece. Raise that up with the rest of it. And if we can, you know, kind of continue this raised area like this, kind of looks like an old church. I don't know if that's really what I was going for, but I guess like a mission maybe. It could be something like that. That might be kind of interesting. Just kind of something a little bit different. Let's do one side and see how that looks. Do. Doesn't look too bad. We'll have to do a little bit something out here to kind of finish that roof off, but yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to go for on this building here. So let's move this in just a little bit. We'll move the end in one space. I don't think that'll really mess up anything. We might have to move a few vines around, but it'll make our roof lamp a little bit better. And I prefer, you know, especially since we're going to be seeing the roof more often than we will see things on the inside here. I think that'll look a little bit better that way. Let's just get all this moved in. I think it's not even a full stud. I think it's like a half, which is fine. Something like that. And we just get fix a couple things on here, like that spot there. For some reason, this is now not cooperating. All right, that'll work. And then there's a rope out here that was sticking out too far. I can't actually get it, but come on. That's where it kind of gets iffy, especially around paths. It's hard to select things for some reason. I think I actually want to delete it and put a different style of rope there. So let's do that real quick. So I put can we put the 4 meter rope in here? It's about a 3 meter space. That's a problem. So let's see. Let's look at this. Yeah, it's a little too much. All right, let's go with the 2 meter, and we'll just put 2 of them together, like this, like that. There's that. We can also, you know what? Why they do this, I'm not 100% sure, but they always put like trash cans just in the oddest places. That might won't let me do it. Will not let me do it there. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Put a trash can just like right there. Just because, you know, they do have this they have odd places they'll put trash cans, and that even fits in better. But I think it's because of, yeah, I don't think it likes the Q pass. So that's okay. We'll leave it like that for now. Let's also get this fixed really quick. Move this in just a little bit more. And then we'll do the same on the other side here. I could move this wall in one. How much work would that be to do? I mean, moving the wall in is not a hard thing to do. Move the grid size back down to where it should be. I'm just more worried about the vines and stuff like that on there. Yes. Alright, hold on. Let's Z. Let's move all the vines up just... Well, just move them literally just the quarter of a meter, essentially. So that hopefully they won't... oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's get rid of that as well. Quite think this is going to let me do what I wanted to do with this selected. No, looks like it's only going to let me do that. Well, here's what I can do, though. I can move all this out here. Then just select the wall. And move it where I want it to go. Maybe. Maybe not. But I might just do it individually, but that's okay. Just something like that. Then I can just advance move the scaffolding, or not scaffolding, the jungle vines back in. I'm okay with that. And move this just back in just a little bit more. Might stick in the Q path out just a little bit, but that's okay. Let's get all the vines back selected and moved back against this wall here. There we go. That looks a little bit better now. Now the roof should actually line up. Ooh, that's not right. Hold on here. Let's get this. Move this back over. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I like that. I'm glad we did that though, because I think it looks a lot better that way. I'll try to figure out what that was. I think it looks a little bit better that way. I think it actually will, especially since we're going to be seeing the outside a lot more often, and that'll actually work better for us anyway. So let's continue the roof all the way down here. Go ahead and just move all these down like this. And around. We probably actually do, well, no, I'm going to have to do the 1 meter wall technique anyway. So let's do this all the way around. And something like this. Yeah, I mean, we could make it look like a church very easily. Add a couple windows on the outside here, add like a steeple, but I don't quite think that's what we're going to go for. But I like how this building's looking right now. Let's go back to the roofing here. I think we'll need to add I think I don't know if there's any side ones here. Oh, some nice smokestacks we kind of need on the outside, just some fake ones. But let's see here what we got. I'll take a look at that here in just a moment here. Kind of hoping. They have all these decorative edge pieces, but I really don't. Hold on, this is what I'm looking, I think, for. I believe is what I'm thinking of. They're not sloped the correct way, which it's interesting. But I think we can make it work. See, like on here, they have these edge pieces for the tile of the roof. Hold on, let's see. I'll just kind of put this one, one of these down, just kind of show you. See what I mean? They have these nice edge pieces that kind of round off the edges there. Don't know if we'll keep that there, but kind of get the idea of it. This is kind of more they call it, this is more of the Asian themed areas, but I just kind of like how that roof looked on this building. I guess we can go with something like this. Just kind of raise it up to about there, and nope, that's the wrong one. Do something like this. Bring it straight across. Like that. I don't know about that. Now I'm looking at that from the side. Ugh. I don't know about that at all. We can always do more trim, of course, but... do something like... I guess we could do something like this. Hold on. So I'm trying to get more of an idea in my head here. If we did something like this, hold on. Barely have a, oh, well. Just gonna raise this up to kind of match a little bit more. Do this across here. Let's see how this looks. I do want to break up this wall. I mean, that's having too much of like one color on a wall is not great. Something like that. And then if we can, something like that. That's not too awful bad. I think I'll keep it for now. I might change it up a little bit later, but that's kind of the idea I have right this second. Do we have any, let's go to scenery, let's go to signs. I want to put some writing in here. So this will be kind of the historical center. So, sign, this is going to be the Thunder Falls Museum, and we put in like the ancient stone block. Piston snap. Nope. We do something like this. We need to rotate it 180 here. See how this, what we can put on here. Let's see, Thunder Falls Museum. Oh. Don't know if that'll work. What I can do though, look for some of the smaller signs here. Something like this. If you don't know this technique, it's a pretty common technique. You just use something like this. Put thunder. Oh, if I can spell thunder. Thunder Falls. And then we put underneath it. And I'll put this in white. I think it'll show up the best around the wall here. And now we can, if we combine these two, or if we just move these two just slightly in like that. What if we actually move this over top of the... What if we just put... Or hold on. No, it's too small over top of it. If we just put it, kind of center it here. Yeah, that might work. You do this a lot. I've done this with like the recycling bins that I built and things like that. Kind of the same idea with those. But yeah, I think that'll actually work. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. Now, what I can do is take, let's let's go over here to buildings. I think they're in building. We'll curb this path here with wood to kind of add to this. They already have the raised path here. So we'll go ahead and actually add the wood curbing to here. Let's go over here. Well, if I can find it, we'll add the wood curbing onto here. Yeah, that's probably what we'll go for here. This stuff, we'll do a 4 meter first because that's probably what we're going to need. Usher these guys right into the museum center here. And then what we'll do is we'll actually switch this around. Something like this. We might need to lower this a little bit too, just so that it fits in with the that wood curbing over there, but that's okay if we need to. Something like this. And move this over, so it looks like it's a little bit bigger. We need to move this one out just a little bit more. There we go. And then move these two. We need to move both of these over just a little bit because I see some grass just a little bit there. Like that. It's not perfect, but then again, that's kind of what this park is. It's not perfect, but I do like how that looks. So do something like this. We need to put something there, maybe just a small piece of wood. There we go. And then we just got to do a nice little curve here, and I think that'll be. You know what? We can't put a curve here because we need to put pathing in here. Because if you guys weren't here last time, essentially this is just more queue area for this ride, but unfortunately you can't actually do that without actually using that path. So what I can do here? Hold on. Let me go ahead and edit this path. I want a nice square edge to it, if I can. Select grid, so come on. So, because on the wrong path still. Select grid, this one, let's nuke this and add there. Then I realized I did the wrong path. And do something like this. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add this building one more time. We are going to move this out here. And then we'll go back down to the wood planks that they were with. Go add a second one, but I think this will only be a 2 meter one. And just barely rotate it in, and then do another 4 meter one that is like that. We have that. Now we can come over here. You guys can kind of see how I want to do this now. Something like that. Now I need to do just if I can get like a 1 meter board in here, hopefully. It's going to stick out a little bit, but if we can turn it a little bit. What I wanted to do there. Move this out just a little bit more like that. Doesn't stick out as far there, and it sticks a little bit out into this path here, but that is okay with me. Let's go ahead and highlight that. And slide this over like so. So now we have kind of how this would work. So right now the actual path is people come down this way and they'll just make a right. On a busy day, like in the middle of the summer or something like that, or when the park's really busy, they could open up all this, so they would come up here, cross, turn left to make a U-turn essentially, and then go through the cattle pens here, and then come out, and then they would go into the museum center then. That makes, to me, that would be kind of a good thing, especially because, honestly, you go through the museum center, you come out here, there's actually not a huge line here, and then you go right to the ride. So it's not too terrible, but yeah, something like this would you need for something in the, very busy months of the park, so it makes a lot of sense for me to have that. So I need to fill in this little gap here with some sort of wood. Maybe something like this, if we can just barely have it stick out of the ground. Like so. Just so that we don't see the grass there. Looks pretty good to me. Then we need to actually add some sort of railing system in here. What? Not 100% sure. But, yeah, we'll need to figure something out. We can do more ropes. I don't think that's quite what we want to go for. Let's get all three of these going. Or let's get all three sections here. Except for these last three. You know what? Let's do this. And we'll move this section down to here. One more for just that section there. Like so. Boosh. And last one we'll just move in just slightly. There we go. So now let's go ahead and figure out, well, I guess what we can actually just add the trim in real quick, so this shouldn't take us too long. Let's add the last one there. There we go. Just have to edit how long these things really are. I don't think this. Yeah, I don't think. Hold on here. Might be able to save a part or two if we move this one. Like that. And then move this down here. We'll have to kind of add. There we go. Now, ooh, this one's a little bit off. I see. That's probably why they're not quite lining up. Go. Now, I'm thinking here that essentially all these paths are going to be covered up, so you won't be able to see the grass anyways. I think we might just make this like a big concrete slab, because essentially that's all it would be. Kind of like how we did the tile work. I might use curbs like we did over by the go-kart track. It's kind of like this. Let's rotate this around to a 90-degree. Well, you know what? We can actually just do the end first. You know what? Let's not do the end first, because then we have to try. It's a lot longer anyway, so we'll just have to mess around with a bunch of it. So let's do something like that. Cut this out. That's almost perfect. I want to edit it just a little bit. I'll have to move a few pieces, but that's okay. That'll look kind of nice. So there we go. That's kind of how I want the queue path to work. And then let's go ahead and we'll do the outside ones. And we'll try to figure out what rope how we want to section it off. It might be a little bit harder to do. It's like I really don't want to use ropes again. I mean, fair enough. The museum looks kind of nice with the ropes in it. But and I don't really want to use just a rope fence piece, because while I do like it's one of the things where I'd like to build something, because I think some of this custom stuff looks amazing if you can do it right. And I've been trying to learn how to do things better. It's not gonna be perfect. I'll be honest there, but it'll look a little bit. It'll look better just having a custom one or a stock one where people can just pick it up out of the parts bin there and use it in their park. So let's do something like this. We'll get the last bit of curbing in here. Do that. Add just a couple more pieces on the end here. Now you can see that pole there. That was kind of the an idea I had, I was going to put a big canopy over this. And I don't quite think I'm going to. Yeah, I have some canvas pieces, like these huge, like stuff that would cover like a patio or something like that in a park. I have some of those that would work pretty well, but I don't think covering this area would be great. But we're on to that subject of what do we do now with this. So I think, as much as I don't really want to use the rope again, I think we're going to use the rope again. Let's see here. Line to surface. Something like that. Rotate this up. I really do need a guest to walk by here. I don't see any coming. I need to make sure the rope's the correct height. Oh, and the ball just rolled over a bunch of people. Alright, well, that's not great. That looks about right, but I want to make sure. Let's just kind of speed up time really quick. Palski, how you doing today? Yeah, I just want to make sure if I have somebody walking through here, can I put like a janitor down maybe? That might, I guess I can pull an archer out too, but, to me, I don't know about a lot of other people, especially if you look at, well, that's cool. I mean, I do appreciate you watching that. It's always neat to see, to hear people, being able to watch my content. I like that. I don't know about other people that play Planet Coaster, but I actually like the, oh, that's not a good thing if you didn't know that it was playing in the background. But, fair enough.
I don't know that.
My Alexa going off there. But to me, in Planet Coaster, I actually like seeing a park work. I actually like seeing people walking around it, rides going, the thing's just working like it should. Maybe that just comes from me, running or being a manager in a park and seeing that and liking kind of liking the idea of where it may not be perfect, but it's working, and you can kind of see how what you've worked on, what you've trained people to do, and things like that are actually coming together and working. That's always a neat feeling for me. So let's just kind of fast forward a little bit, and let's make sure. Well, I think the heights are okay. I'm not really too concerned about it. It looks about the same from the museum center there, but let's go ahead and we'll continue editing this part here. I'm still tempted to put in a. Let's edit this group. I'm still tempted to put a cover of some sort over this. As to what, I'm not sure. But there is an idea to put a cover over all this. Come on, there we go. And what I think I want to do is actually do something like we'll do 2 ropes, and I'll just kind of. Well, have a good stream as well. I do appreciate you stopping by though. Something like this. And there we go. And let's see if we can do the 4-meter rope on top of it. Oh, I want to edit this first. Come on. Oh, we're on a path again. This is the only thing I don't like working on paths, is that it always seems like it's super hard to select things. I think something like that might work. I won't do it on the outside here. I think I'm just going to put a wood fence around here, just around the outside of this area here, just so that, number one, you really don't, nothing's really, spoiled about the ride while you're waiting in queue lines, which some rides don't mind. I kind of want to keep this one a little more secret. But also, this area that we're going into, I mean, we're thinking about putting a operator's area over in here. So it makes sense that we don't want to have people seeing that every time they ride this ride. It's fair. So some of this might be backstage areas, some of this might be plants or something like that, or even audio animatronics that we don't want people getting into. So I think we'll be okay if we don't show all that off. Might just leave that area open just a little bit, but I kind of get the idea here of what we're going for. Now if we select all this, and then move all this over to there. I'll probably keep that one there, but I do want to add in some rope on this side to show that this area has been, is closed off for right now. They don't need it because if you see here, there's hardly anybody riding the ride, but we'll have to use probably something like this. We can probably get away with a 4-meter one just because we are going to put we're going to put another one on the other side too, so it makes sense. So with something like this, we'll just do this straight across here. And a lot of times rides will have that, especially older rides that were maybe really popular at one time, or if you go to places like Disney, if you go in the off season, things like October or November, sometimes usually early January or February, they'll have places like this, and they'll just be cordoned off because they don't need it right now. So you kind of have to look for them sometimes. Sometimes they're a little more hidden. Other times they're pretty obvious to spot. But it is neat when you, or especially, or it kind of stinks sometimes if you have to go through some of these bigger areas. But also it's really kind of neat, especially with Disney. Disney always usually does pretty good with their queue lines. One of my favorite queue lines, was one of my favorite queue lines was Test Track, when they would actually have all the crash test, the simple tests of the crash test dummies out there. That was always neat to see. I think I think we've already kind of set a precedent with how we want to do that. Oh, that's a lot of. If we do that, it's not going to work. All right. Well, I think what we'll do here though, we can edit this a little bit. Make these 2 meters instead of the 4. But yeah, Test Track was one of my favorite ones before they did the new update with where it was just sponsored by Chevrolet instead of just sponsored by GM. That was one of my favorite queue lines of all time. Even though I don't know why. I mean, this is when I was younger. Test Track used to scare the poop out of me. I'll be honest here. And I don't know why. I think it was the barrier test. So if you've ever rode Test Track, there's a part in it in the old ride where they actually used to do a crash test. Of course, they wouldn't actually let you hit anything. It was just a door that would open up into the outside part of the ride. But for some reason, as a kid, that would scare the crap out of me, and I don't know why. But it was still one of my favorite places to go through and see all that. And I kind of miss it. I think when they redid that ride, they took some of the thrill out of it, and that's what kind of it's bugged me ever since then. It's like it's still a fun ride, but I feel that when they went to the Chevrolet only sponsorship, they kind of took some of the thrill out of it, and I understand why. The reason they say they updated the ride is that they wanted to show how a modern car was designed and put through tests and things like that, and I get that. A lot of all of it now is just digital. I mean, if you can test most of a car on a computer and never have one built. It's amazing you can do that, but also at the same time, I think for that ride, it took some of the thrill out of it for me. I think even the last time I went down there, it wasn't even open. I think there were some mechanical issues, and I tried 2 or 3 different times to get a fast pass for it, and I never could. So, yeah, that's kind of my little rant about Test Track. If you were curious at all, honestly, may not have been, but could be wrong. Let's get this put in over here. Do. I mean, it's not exactly how I wanted to do that, but I think it'll work. Something like that, and like that. Get some more scaffolding on this end. I think what I'm going to have to do is put a post in there, which is okay. I'm not too fussed over it. Something like that. Yeah, you kind of see how... Fair enough. This is not bad looking. I'm kind of pretty okay with this. Let's go ahead and get this one put in here. That's almost a perfect length, too. So yeah, is it perfect? Or is it perfect? Not really. Does it look nice? Yeah, it looks pretty good. And that's kind of how this... If you're new here, this is kind of how this park is. It's not a perfect park, but stuff that, you know, it's still unique and it's still fun. So that's why we do it. Let's see here. Well, at least that's why I do it. There's no one else. No one else has touched this park, and that's kind of for probably a good reason. I don't know if anybody else would touch this park, but let's see. There we go. But yeah, to me, I kind of, when I started doing Planet Coaster stuff, I was a big fan of people like Bro Coaster. They were a big one. Jaunty Sparrow was a big one also to watch. And it seems like to me, when I was watching their parks, they built them just to kind of as a display. They really didn't build them, and, some of them worked. I mean, the rides, stuff like that, they built like feeders and stuff like that would work. That was awesome. But to me, it seems like they would just kind of leave them on pause a lot of times, and they would just kind of show them off. And maybe they just didn't, play them while they were showing them off. But to me, it seems like a lot of them were just using those, or building them as a display. And I kind of like the idea of using Planet Coaster as something you can actually make it look like a living, breathing thing, almost. And that's kind of this is kind of why I like doing what I do. Is you'll see me just stop for a second and look at the park and watch it go for a minute and see how people react, or how people go around the park and interact with it. And that's kind of something I really like to watch people do. It's kind of rewarding to see people actually walking around enjoying something you did. Even when I worked at Kings Island, that same way. Now, fair enough, I worked in food service, so they might have just been hungry too. But you kind of get the sense of like, all right, cool. I helped somebody have a good day, and that was kind of the neat thing about it. So let's get all this taken care of. We're almost done with all this rope work. It looks pretty nice. And we'll just put some ropes up here as well. Actually, you know what? We did say we weren't going to do it on the outside, didn't we? You know what? I think we'll add this in. We'll put the fence behind it. For two reasons. Number one, I don't feel like taking all this back down. Second of all, I still think it looks nice. So, if we do something like that. And then something like this. I think we'll just put a post at, well, we might be able to add one more length in here. Oh, come on, there we go. Something like this, kind of angle it just a little bit better. And then if we remove that one and kind of move this down just a little bit more, there we go. That looks pretty nice there. All right, so there's that done. Let's go ahead and put the fence up too while we're here. When I mean by fence, I just mean like just a basic wood fence. Fair enough, this is a older part of the park, so this fence would not look this good. Maybe it is a little more ragged than this. Oh, there we go. Let's rotate this up into position here. Like so. Then we do need to age this a little bit. And with this, kind of the idea of what I would go for is, I mean, technically a fence would start out looking like this, and then they would either stain it or paint it. Maybe something like that. But as wood gets older, it doesn't get like dirtier. I mean, it does get a little bit more dirty, so we might do something like that, but it gets a lot more grayer. Like it grays for some reason. And why, I'm not sure. But it kind of is this kind of dull grayish tone. If we did something like that, that might look pretty good against there. And it looks older, stuff like that. Maybe the ropes are a little bit newer. Maybe they redid this area just a little bit, but they didn't take the old fence down. Especially if you're redoing a section like this, it might cost quite a bit of money. Anything you can salvage, you will. Because that's just, I mean, it's a smart thing to do. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of make this fence come down with the ramp here. Like so here. And like that. Especially with this being this close to the ride, this would probably... Oop, I did just drop 2 pieces in the same place. I may have. Hold on. I did. Let's fix that. Especially with the ride being this close to this side, it'd probably be a good idea to put a fence right here. Just in case something did go wrong. They don't want to... or if someone, you know, hopefully people don't try to jump the fence, or kids... You know, Infinite Gaming, I do appreciate it, sir. Thank you for the follow. Welcome as well, but don't have a name for my followers yet. I mean, technically, fair enough. I only had 19 today. I think I'm up to 23 or 24 now. It's pretty good. I don't have a name. I should have come. I mean, like the people I follow, it's like you have, you know, like if you look at Jeremy Dooley, he has the monster trucks, or you have the Raiders from Ray Narvaez. I don't have a name for my followers. I should come up with one. But yeah, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. So right now we're just putting up a fence. That's some great riveting gameplay here. But yeah, we're actually just working on the extra queue line here for our Rapids ride. It's a great little ride here. Let's try to get the snug up there. There we go. Continue on down this way here. Let's continue down this way here. Now, the part in front of the museum center, I think I'm going to do a little bit more plant work. Just to make it, you know, because we have a lot of just like wood and concrete around here. I think it'd be nice just to have something a little bit different to kind of break up that monotony. Because if you go to an amusement park, if you go to places like a Cedar Fair or something like that, there's a lot of concrete everywhere. And maybe you don't notice it as a guest, but when I used to work for Cedar Fair, you notice how much concrete and stuff like that is there, and just how bare some places are. And, you know, some of that could be part of the aesthetic. Maybe they just wanted it bare for some reason. I don't know why they would, but some would like that. But other places, like right in here, I might put a fence all like right here, just to help kind of hide this section here. We'll probably just go ahead and do that. Something like this. Well, probably don't want to do that. It will just kind of fence it off completely. I'm not really that concerned about it. We'll probably make this a little bit of a backstage area, probably just for maybe the crew to have a place to go when they're changing shifts, or maybe there might be a few computers that help run the ride back here, or they might just have a break area. I mean, it's not too uncommon to have areas like this. Now, granted, I never ran rides when I worked for Cedar Fair. I always worked in food service or merchandise. But there's just little pockets of places around here. Funny enough, speaking of little pockets like this, there is one that I remember from there's a place that I used to work called Rivertown Potato Works, and it's right by if you ever go to Kings Island, it's right by the train station. There's a big potato works there. They just make fries and stuff like that. Well, between the actual stand itself and the train station, there's a little area. We always call it Narnia for some reason, because the only way you can get back there's a 3-foot door you have to like crawl into to get out to it. and it's outside, and it's just a little fences there. It's got a couple chairs back there, and people would take their breaks back there. And why? I have no idea. But that's how that area was, and so places like this do exist in parks. You just, it just takes a while for, someone to find them. So yeah, that was kind of neat. I don't know why that popped in my head, though. I mean, it's funny, don't get me wrong. I think what we're going to do, just to kind of help hide this terrain work, put a few bushes up here, because, I mean, fair enough, this area would be kind of hard to get to for landscaping. And so maybe they just kind of leave this go for a little bit. Might be able to put a few things back here. I don't really know. We have this whole platform here that I think I want to use for either storage for the ride or something like that. So I'm not really that concerned with this area here. I am out of tea. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, what if I move this bush over here to help fill in this area, and then actually add a little bit more wood scaffolding along here, just to help hide this a little bit better, like this. That might look a little bit better. And we can also just kind of extend it just a little bit around here. So it looks like maybe part of it was planned on, and like planned to be bushes or grass or whatever. Maybe it's a runoff for the water if for some reason it gets too full. So I imagine, like, matter of fact, I know, especially when it rains really hard, some of these rides have to have somewhere to put all that water at, and a lot of times it's just dumped into sewers. So that might be like an inlet for water or something like that to leave the ride. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Still got a huge dip here, though. I don't know if I can fix that with terrain. Let's try, though. Now you guys can watch how bad my terrain work is. Nothing. Alright, well, that's a pity. Alright, so let's go ahead and cover it up with bushes. That seems decent enough for me. Let's just kind of do nothing huge, though. You don't want to have this fence like overrun with bushes. Something like that to help hide that hole. I do stick a little bit up here, like they've grown. I mean, think about this. I mean, if this park was current day, this area would have been built in the 80s. So if you say 85, you're looking at 35 years old. So yeah, bushes could very well grow through fences, and this could all very well be, grown up and stuff like that. So nothing's really sticking through there. We can move this over just a tiny bit, though. Like that. I think that looks pretty decent. We'll put some smaller trees in here, nothing huge. I mean, fair enough, this place could very well have some very big trees, especially if they planted them on day one, but I don't remember. This might have been part of Bro Nation, where you sink trees in like this and make them look like it looks like smaller version of the trees. Maybe. I don't really know for a fact, but I think it looked pretty good the way it is. And then we could do something like, I do a little bit of rock work, just a small rocks, nothing too huge around here, just to kind of, because I know if a park can keep a cost down, they will. And if they can not have to like weed eat or trim this area very often, they will find every way to not do that. On most parks, I would say, so if they put rocks up here, they don't have to worry about cutting this close to this building here. They can just bring a small lawnmower back here and cut away, or just a riding mower, especially. I know they do that a lot. Let's do something like this. I'll put a few more smaller rocks around here. If I can figure out how to do a small fountain would be kind of neat here. But for now, I think that'll look nice. So we got the Thunder Falls Museum there, and I think I might have an entrance to a. Oh, you know what? That would be a perfect area right here. Let's move this gear. I said let's move this gear over here. And now I've got a clear path where I can put a door back here, and make this a exit for, because we did plan on putting a rod operator section here. This is might how they get to it, so I like that idea. So let's go ahead and put a door in here. Gotta find a door that would fit in here. Well, we can do one of two things. We could put a door that would actually work with the theming, something like this. It's a little much. Maybe something like, hell, it's a little, maybe not quite that bad. I mean, that's maybe what we got right now. Kind of hide it in the branches a little bit. I don't know about that. Something like just a plain door, and that'll work. Kind of hide it in the vines just a little bit, and that essentially that would annoy people trying to go back there. But that door could be the entrance to our employee service area over here. Kind of the idea would be that. The idea is that put it there. There's going to be some sort of monitoring area over here, because the part that that curve is in is actually going to be in a cave. So if you didn't see this last time, this is kind of part of the ride. This is actually where the cave entrance is. So very simple. You know, if you put a monitoring station here, it's going to be underground. So that's kind of the idea where we might put a door there. So really, honestly, we might actually have all this as part of the hill, so you actually wouldn't see much over here anyways. So that fence is kind of redundant, but yeah, I kind of like how it is for its looks anyways, so. Yeah, I think for now I'm going to leave this kind of open like this. I'm going to add a little bit of a hump here, or a dip, I don't know. Let's see what looks better. Kind of make it so where it's not doesn't look flat. That's kind of the idea, and so it's not perfect, but you know that's over time the earth might have just kind of eroded down here. I think that looks just fine. We also need to put a roof on this place, or a full roof. I've not really skirted the idea, but we need to do that real quick. So I'm just gonna put a flat roof on it. Let's see here, roof. Maybe something like this. That's a little plain, but that's kind of what this place is. It's not perfect. Now, with a roof like this, you wouldn't. It's not technically completely flush against the top of this wall. There would just be a little bit of overhang, kind of like that. Let's see if we can get a little less there. There we go. Why? I have no idea. But usually with the roofs I've looked at and kind of designed and stuff like that, it always seems like there is just a little bit of roof that hangs, or the wall that hangs just up just a little bit from the roof itself. Let's go ahead and just keep on adding all this in here. This, and one more after that. There we go. Now this might stick out a little bit on the edge here. I'm not really that concerned with it. Kind of looks like it's part of it, especially. But we can always cover it up if we want to add some of these roof tiles. We can always rotate those down and just along there. But yeah, there we go. That was we've actually been pretty productive this episode so far. Yeah, we actually got quite a bit done so far. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes left, though, guys. So, well, we can walk through here. I don't have Tedget Cam on, but if you were a guest in this park, this is kind of what you would come into. This is kind of the museum center for Thunder Falls here. I think it looks rather nice. If you were just kind of before this, we can kind of see the queue line that you were thankful because it's all roped off, so you don't have to go into it. But it's pretty neat. Now, kind of the other thing is, what do we want to do up here? I don't quite know that. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to work on this side of the queue. This side I really just kind of want to do some plants. We'll do kind of just some nice curbing like we did on the original path over there. So we'll do that over here. We'll also probably put a little bit bigger fence here because this is also the exit path here. Probably won't do it as much on this side because I kind of want this area. I kind of want to make it look like a part you can actually go out and look at the ride while you're waiting in line. It's always a good thing to do, kind of a teaser before you get on the ride, of course. So yeah, I think we're gonna do that. But first, I want to just use the restroom real quick, guys. So I will be back. Give me like 5 minutes. I'll be right back, guys. When we come back, we will. Let me save the game while I'm talking. We'll come back. We'll hopefully complete this side of the park or this side of the queue. If not, we'll finish it up next week and continue working on the station. But I think I'd like to try and get that done today so we can actually work on the station and actually the actual ride itself next week. So kind of the idea, guys. So yeah, let me go ahead and put my Be Right Back screen up. There we go. So I will be right back, guys. Just give me about 5 minutes and I will be right back. Alright, everybody, I am back. Thanks for waiting there. I do appreciate it. Look at something really quick here. I noticed, for some reason, that the goal was not updating for some reason. Huh. I don't know why that's not updating. Because I swear, because it's a hold on, source. Maybe I need to do that. I don't know. For some reason, because that should be like a 22 or 23 right now, which I don't know. I don't know why it's not doing that. It's really odd, but oh well. I'll figure it out. I'll have to get that updated too, because I think it should be around 22 or 23. But let's get back in the game here. Let's not worry about that right this second. What we do need to worry about is getting this queue line done. And do the same thing over and over again, like for this. So, this actually isn't as bad as the other side because I think this is a smaller side than it. So, let's go ahead and we'll just edit the group here, and we'll move all this over to that side. And that'd be the first thing we should do. And the rope and stuff like that is actually part of a separate group. Didn't really mean to do that on purpose, but somehow I did. So, want to copy those over just in a little bit here. But let's get the wood down first. Do I have game audio? I do have game audio, but let's see here. For some reason it's not playing music, which I was kind of surprised about because usually when I come back, there's music going. So let me also get some drink or more water back in. Oh, there's the music. Get some more water back into my cup here. Anytime I drink out of these bottles, I usually will pop it right in the mic, and I don't want to blow your guys' eardrums out because that's probably no fun. I've never had it happen to me before, but I can only imagine how that would not feel great. Alrighty, back to the woodwork. Do. Somewhere around there. I'm going to move this all the way over to here. And then we'll have to cut quite a bit of this off. Move this, come on, there we go, down to here. Now kind of the idea I want to do on this side here though, because it's a little bit smaller area, but I do like to have this shop truck here, is I want to kind of fill this, I kind of want to put a fence along here, kind of like, I might not even put rope over here because we are kind of, limited for space, but actually put a fence along here, and then make this like a small market area, kind of like supply, like a supply shop. So if you're going on another adventure or something like that, kind of what I'm looking for there. So that's kind of the idea I want to go for there. So I kind of want to keep this as minimal on this side as possible. At least, you know, queue line wise, that is. So let's do something like that. Oh, this shouldn't take too much longer or too long to do this area, especially now that we actually have an idea in our head of what we want to do. That should be able to just copy this to the other side. Well, the next side here. Let's do that. It's a little bit off, but rather have it aligned with the straight path here. We can curve it a little later here. And then bring this across to there. There we go. Looks pretty good so far. Let's bring this across to here. And across there. I think what we'll have to do is probably do... Oh, that's... Probably just get rid of this one now. Is actually probably go down to a 2 meter length of wood to actually get this to work properly, especially with the curves here. So let's do ahead and do... Oh, I've had on roof still. So there we go. I don't think we need quite that much angle. Something like this. Oh, we actually might need that much angle. Hold on, there we go. That looks a little bit better. And then like this. Thankfully, it's pivoting right at the end of the piece, so that I can kind of follow it. It's a little bit easier to curve. You know, I can set it, curve it, set it, curve it, set it, curve it. So it's a little bit easier that way. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again. There's that one, and let's keep on bringing this around here. Like so. And let's bring this into the building like this. So there's that side done. I don't know if we can use this. Well, we're going to try it. See if we can use this on the inside as well. I mean, we can use the... If we move the first one and the last one a little bit more, I think we can. Something like that. And then we will move this up a little bit. And then just rotate it 90 degrees. And like that. If you want to move... Oop, that's not what I want to do. I want to grab that piece there. Just grab two pieces there. Hold on. Let's move this one back. There we go. So there's that side done. And I do want to turn this one around, because now it would be rotating on the opposite end. So I do want to rotate. If we rotate 90 degrees, we can continue what we were doing. And it makes it a little bit easier on me, at least. I think we need to just kind of bring this out just a little bit more here. Go, just kind of angle it more towards the corner there. There's that. Raise it again. Didn't want to mean to do that. Do. I also thought about putting some music in here, just kind of generic adventure music. I think that might kind of fun. Might be kind of fun. I'm not 100% sure yet, though. I know one of my dad loves watching, loves watching me do stuff like this because him and I kind of, we were both big fans of Disney, and especially with rides and stuff like that. He always thought I should do Thunderstruck, the AC/DC song, which I don't know about that, but I think it's quite of a funny idea. But I have thought about putting music in here just to just to kind of add a little bit to it, especially if we're going to put this much effort into a queue line. Why not put some more effort into kind of the atmosphere and the feel of the ride to get it to where it would feel like a real ride, and that's kind of the idea. So let's back it up to here. And then let's continue this around like so. This isn't the most exciting part in the world, especially since we've already done a lot of this already, but I mean, it's something we need to do, especially if we want to get this ride completed and move on to the other rides we have already placed. But also something I saw today is there was a ride I wanted to include in this area that I just couldn't find a good place to put it, and it was the swinging ship ride. I don't know what it's called in this game, but we always call it a swinging ship, kind of Viking ship, things like that. Whatever you want to call it. They're very popular in especially parks like this. Funny enough, it's one of my mom's favorite rides for some reason. No idea why, but it's one of her favorites, and I always have to ride it with her because my dad always gets sick if he rides those rides. So, that's fair. But I saw a artist rendering of a park, and I don't know what park it was or anything like that. But they actually had the actual swinging part of the ship out over a lake, or a kind of like it was a dock scene, and the swinging ship was actually over the side of the dock there. I'm like, that's a really neat idea, especially if you haven't seen this park kind of up close. This is all built on a lake. That's why it's called Thunder Lake. Fair enough. But it does we actually do have a dock side like that could very well have something like a swinging ship built off the side of it, and I think it would look very nice. So I think that's how I want to incorporate that into this section of the park. Cool. Well, that didn't move at all. Something like that. And I think since we're going to put like a wood fence like we did on the other side up over here, I think having this wood border here kind of sets it off just a little bit more, so it's not just a fence. It actually looks a little bit more plain and things like that. So I think it'll be a little bit harder too, because they only come in 2 and 4 meter sections. I mean, fair enough, we could build our own fence, but number one, that would take quite a few parts, and yeah, that's I don't know about that, because while my computer's pretty good, it still has a little bit of issues loading this game, and things like that. So I kind of want to keep that in mind when I'm building things like this too, but I still want it to look good too. So it's kind of a good balance. So if I don't mind using the fence pieces that come, I think they came in the studios pack, so I don't mind using those. We just kind of, might be a little harder to finagle them around here. So do something like this and complete the curbing at least for this part of the queue line. Looks pretty good. I do say so myself. So let's go ahead and we'll go and put the fence here. Let's see. Go scenery. Go to fencing. Well, I'll go to all and just type fence. if that just went down the wrong way or what, but that didn't feel good. Alright, fence. There we go. Looks all nice. Yeah, I kind of like, I actually did a little bit of this in the park. And I can show you here in just a second how I did it. But I actually used that color fence because honestly, in parks like this, you really wouldn't see. What in the world is that doing? You wouldn't see fences that really new. Even with newer rides, they would have painted them or stained them of some sort so that you wouldn't actually see the wood itself. But I actually do have a little bit of not really a scene, but it's an idea of what would have happened. And there's a gate. It's a newer gate that they had installed in the park. But you can tell somebody's hit part of the gate with either a vehicle or a forklift or something like that, and they've had to replace it. And that was kind of the idea behind the scene. And so you actually can tell there was an older gate there, and then when they replaced it, they haven't just had a chance to paint it yet. So that's kind of the idea of what I was going for. I'll show you that here in a second. Or if you want to go back and watch, there's I believe I showed that off in the first episode or first stream of Planet Coaster. I think it's called Overview of Thunder Lake. It'll show in there if you're really curious about that. And if you're curious about this whole park, you can go watch that stream. I actually give the entire story of Thunder Lake, or a majority of a story, because we're still kind of building a story here, and because we're only up to about the 1980s, especially with just this ride. So yeah, go watch that if you're curious about how that is. It's a really neat series. I like the story that comes out of it. It's got some really interesting features to it. And it helps me, I think, a little bit build a park that feels a little bit more natural. Because when I have a story in mind, I can think, all right, why was this here? Oh, it was probably this. Like, there is a tree. There's a planter in front of the shrimp shack we built in stream number 1 or 2. There's a tree in the middle. I had to put a planter there because of the way the pathing worked. It was just not going to work there. However, there was a tree in there. I'm like, why in the world would this tree be here? And so the idea was, after the lake flooded, which if part of the lore is this lake flooded and destroyed part of the park, that was the only tree remaining in that park. So instead of tearing it down, they actually put a planter around it to kind of commemorate it. So yeah, there is that fencing we were talking about. Looks pretty good. Don't know how I'm going to do the fencing around here yet. I might have to put some stuff in here. Let me show you that gate really quick while we're thinking about it. We can take it just a small break, a little detour. So this is actually the gate I was talking about. This actually is a custom gate I built. So you can see here, they would just have like a pull bar that you would pull up on, and that would allow this gate to swing back this way. This is the entrance to the backstage area. You can tell somebody actually hit this with some sort of vehicle. They've had to replace the gates or replace all these boards. So you can kind of tell this hasn't been painted yet. But yeah, so that was kind of the neat thing about this one. You kind of can see here other parts of the park here. This is the 80s section of the park, so we do have some kind of very generic stuff here. Love this bathroom, by the way. If you go back and watch that stream, you can actually hear the story behind this restroom, or I believe it's also included in the best bites. So if you're curious what the best bites are just snips of all the streams. So I do 3 streams a week. I kind of cut clips from each one and put them into one video, and that's what the best bites are. I believe this was actually still one of the individual ones. So if you want to go watch that, I believe it was Overview of Thunder Lake Best Bites, which is actually included in there. So it's a great little thing to watch. And then this is our Arrow Corkscrew Coaster. This is a Shockwave based on the Kings Island Vortex, which is no longer there, unfortunately. Yeah, this is kind of what the 80s section looks like right now, so it's not very bare. We've been working in this section. But if you're new here, this is actually kind of an overview of the entire park so far. So just kind of give you an idea of how long I've been working on this since January of 2018, I believe. So this has been about a year and a half of work that I've put in so far. So I really do encourage you to go watch that kind of intro stream to this, so you can get an idea of how this park's been developed over that time. But getting back to the queue line area here, Do we want to do it? I'm thinking about putting a fence all the way. See, we wanted to put a viewing area here, and I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do it. I think we need to put the ropes up, though. I think the ropes will work pretty well over here as they did over here. They worked well over here, and I think they'll do the same over on the other side. So it's also good to kind of keep the same theme, and I mean more of a maintenance perspective than anything else. But because if you have all the same thing, you don't have to try to keep stock of 20 different items for a ride. You can keep, this would be 2 rope sections and a pole that you have to keep up. But whereas if we changed it up on this side, it has become a pain to try to keep up all of them, or all the parts you need to fix the queue line like this. So what we'll have to do what we did on the other side is put a 2-meter section in here. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Let's see, rope. Add this one and make it a 2-meter section. Okay. Delete that out. And we'll copy this over to there. Do the same on this side here. Funny enough, I didn't plan. Oh, actually, I want to do a 2-meter section. Sorry, I didn't plan on doing or having the rope section and the wood section different, but it's actually helped a lot because I can actually select. That I actually select a lot of the whole chain like that, and not have to worry about selecting the wood, which makes it a lot easier for me to do stuff like this and just copy it, move it over to here, like so. And then we will do the same on this side. I think I want to move that over there. So we'll have a little bit of space on the end there, but once again, we kind of show that that's kind of how all of our queue paths work. And yes, a few people might trip, and we're not really liable or responsible for any injuries that happen at our park. That's funny enough, you go to any park, they will have some sort of sign, or it's on their map somewhere that they actually say that. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah, it's something that we saw. Same with like lost or stolen property. Technically, the park's not liable for it, but it's just stuff like that. If you read a park map, there's some stuff that's like, oh, that's you would think that. That would be included, but fair enough. Amusement parks are usually safe, and even the parks I used to run, we used to keep them as safe as we could. But accidents do happen, things like that. I've had a call. Some people. I mean, people think that Disney has like all these big fire departments and that, and they do. That doesn't quite connect to the fence there. Well, like when I worked at Kings Island, we actually had our own fire department and our own medical department. We didn't have any doctors on staff, but we actually had I think 3 or 4 nurses that would kind of rotate out, but we always had at least one there, and the rest of them were usually paramedics. So yeah, we did have our medical team, which is it's a neat thing to have. And we didn't have we had somewhat of our own ambulances. If you get hurt at Kings Island, or at least this is what from my experience is, they actually have golf carts that they have converted to actually small. They look like small ambulances, which are pretty neat. Essentially, they're almost like side by sides if you think about it like that. But yeah, they're just carts that they can drive around the park and pick people up, and they usually actually can hold 4 or 5 people. Usually one they actually can hold a stretcher, 2 people up front, and then like 2 people in the back. So yeah, they're pretty neat little things. So it's just stuff like that you don't think about when, especially if you're doing this. If you've never worked in an amusement park, you would never know about stuff like that. I know. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm trying to think of other things like that people wouldn't know that they would have. I mean, at one point, I wasn't there when it was open, but like Kings Island had its own post office that actually had a mail route that it would do. Now it wasn't it was a official like U.S. post office that you could go to. It was, I think now it's actually part of the laundry. Yeah, you can actually drop off mail there if you wanted to, and it would be mailed out by the Kings Island Post Office. So it was pretty neat. I'm pretty sure Disney has probably something like that, but you know, it does. You know, it's still nice to have stuff like that. It's just neat when you don't think about it. But like what else? I mean, we have test kitchens. I've been in the test kitchens many times, just because you know they have to test the food somewhere. They usually have like when I was there, they had a chef. His name was, I think, Nathan maybe. That his whole job was to make different kinds of food just to try and see if they can make him in the park. I knew him pretty well. I actually knew him when he was just a low level manager. So you know, I think he had left by the time I left too. So, but it's just stuff like that. It's neat to see, you know, even small parks like Kings Island, which fair enough, Kings Island's not a huge park. I mean, it's I think the big Cedar Fair owns, but you know, that's it's pretty neat. And I'm trying to make this rope work, make it any more interesting, and it seems like it's not really working that well. But let's see here. Let's see if we can get this going here. Something like that. It's cut in the corner a little bit, but that's okay with me. So we got this in. I'm trying to see what would be the easiest way to do this curve here, because if we could maybe curve this, we have to do this side anyways. All right, let's start on the one nearest to the station then. And this, I don't know if Disney's the same way, but I know at Kings Island or Cedar Fair, kind of in general, they were always kind of hoarders almost. They didn't want to they didn't want to get rid of anything, and I always thought I was trying to figure out why. It was kind of baffled me. And that kind of brings up a story I didn't think about this. So, in early 2000s, Paramount owned Kings Island, so the movie theater, something like that, or the movie company, and so they would actually put themed rides in there. One of them was Tomb Raider the ride, and it was a top, they call it a top spin ride, where you'd actually sit kind of like in 2 or 3 rows across, and the ride would take you up and down. It would spin you. Well, they actually had props from the movie there, and I didn't really, you know, wasn't a huge fan of Tomb Raider, you know, whatever, but they were sitting there. I was walking through one of the backstage areas one day. I can't remember if I was going to work or, you know, going to go talk to somebody in the office before I left. So it was something like that. And there was an old Land Rover Discovery in the parking lot. And this is when I worked in the office, I believe. This is when I was looking for eventually when I ended up buying my first Jeep. But I was looking at this. There's an old Land Rover Discovery. It didn't have a top on it, but it was an off-road vehicle. It had a diesel in there. You know, seats were a little torn up, but it could have very well been worked on it and been a nice little off-road vehicle. So I asked somebody, and it was actually being used in the landscaping department. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. And didn't think anything about it. I asked somebody, you know, if they were, you know, maybe make an offer on it or whatever, if they were going to get rid of it. And I don't think they were ready to get rid of it yet, and I still think they still have it. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, that's just still neat. Didn't think anything about it for I don't know how many years. But then they actually did a Defunctland video about it. About, I think it was Defunctland. I could be wrong about that. And then I was looking at the video of it because I like Defunctland, and they showed this truck sitting in front of the ride. That they're like, oh yeah, this was actually a movie prop that was, I think it was Angelina Jolie that was driving this in the movie. It's like yeah, they don't know what happened to that truck. I'm like, I can tell you exactly what happened to that truck, because that's the same truck that was sitting in the landscape parking lot a couple of years ago. So yeah, they actually use it for landscaping now. That was the same, I guess, movie-driven truck in the movie, and they use it for that. I don't know if that's 100% true, but it looks like the exact same truck. It's, if not, it was a duplicate that they used for, you know, in the park, which is still neat that they use that for the ride. But if that was true, that's actually a movie prop. That's still a really neat idea. Because apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. I've never been actually in the ride itself. Um, but apparently, a lot of the theming, stuff like that, is actually still in the ride. The ride closed, I want to say 2013, maybe? When it closed because they actually used part of it as the supports for Diamondback. So if you were a big fan of Diamondback, that's why Tomb Raider closed, is because they actually, if you actually go there now, you can still see the entrance to the ride, but there's a big pillar going pretty much right through the queue line. So, fair enough. They use it now for, I think, Halloween events. The ride itself is gone, but I'm pretty sure the theming, stuff like that, is still inside of it. So, interesting little tidbit, but stuff like that all over that park. There is, like, a lot of people don't know, Walt Disney has an apartment, or had an apartment at Disneyland. I think he had one at, well, technically he was going to have one at the Magic Kingdom. But Kings Island actually has one on top of Rivertown Pizza. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment up there, full bathroom and everything like that. That the cleaners actually use. So we actually had what they call a cleaning crew. Their whole job was just to go around and clean stuff. It seems like kind of generic, but what their job was is they would deep clean things that technically we wouldn't have time to do. Things like huge dumpsters or backstage areas. That was their whole job. And they only did it for food service because food service was probably the dirtiest. I mean, technically probably the dirtiest ones there. So yeah, it was neat. So they had an office up there, and I would go up there every once in a while and talk to them. That was when I worked in the office, and I just went up there and explored for a little bit because I had never been up there, and someone invited me up there. So yeah, it's neat stuff like that you can find around those parks. That I don't, to be honest with you, I don't remember why they had it up there. Because there was no reason. I mean, there was no reason you would. I mean, would you ever stay overnight at an amusement park? Probably not. Now Walt did. I know, that would make sense. But just kind of the way the apartment was kind of laid out, it was just kind of an odd thing. But if I'm also not mistaken, they also have like old paperwork because Kings Island, funny enough, they used to have like a safari park that you would go on. There was a monorail there. The monorail still exists. It's not at the park anymore. It's actually, if you ever heard of Jungle Gyms, it's a exotic store almost. It's a really neat store to go into, but he actually owns a party venue almost, and they host like weddings, things like that there. Well, now they actually have a monorail there that was originally Kings Island's that now operates between his store and that venue. It's only like a mile, but it's pretty neat. I haven't gone down there to look at it to see it yet, but any monorail's cool. But yeah, so those were originally at that one was originally at Kings Island. They actually had a safari park that they'd have lions, tiger. It was a zoo essentially that you would take a monorail and ride over top of it or kind of ride next to it. And I've seen a couple different photos of it. But they still have paperwork back there from when they had those and when they bought and sold those animals. And now if you go to Kings Island, there's not really much left of you can't really see anywhere that the zoo was. Pretty much where it's called it's called Action Zone now. I think it's called. It's where Banshee and Drop Tower and is it Vertigo? It's gotta be. I think it's in Vertigo. They've changed names on us 2 or 3 times when I was there, or either while I've worked there or while I've been a guest there. So sometimes names are a little confusing, but something like this. I just noticed that these ropes stick out pretty far. So let's fix this real quick. And that rope got deleted. That's not good. A little more. looks better. Well, all right. So I just got a text from my dad. He actually used to work at the pizza store that had the apartment above it. He said apparently. Let me look at his text really quick. Because if I'm not mistaken, essentially, when let's see here, the person who used to own. So the pizza places that were there were actually owned by like a pizza store. It's La Rosa's Pizza. I don't know if that was the same company then or not, but apparently he's actually used that as an office and actually would sleep there overnight after really late shifts. So it's kind of interesting. It's so why you never have. I mean, that's I guess one reason if you want to go home after a really long shift or a really late shift. I know I've had some pretty late shifts like that myself. I think the latest one. Let's see here. I'm gonna get rid of this rope and let's do a straight one. But kind of the interesting thing. I mean, the latest shift I ever had. I think I worked, and this is the longest shift I ever had too. Funny enough. I worked. I got there at I think 8 a.m. Saturday morning, and I left at 2:30 or 3 o'clock Sunday morning. So it was like a 17-hour shift. And while I didn't plan on taking a break, I did take like an hour break in there. But it's still 16 hours on the clock is not ideal. I would never probably do that again unless I had to. But it was a night. I was working in food service. It was the last time I worked in a stand in food. Well, last year I worked in a stand in food service. Come on, there we go. I was assistant supervisor, and there was two assistant supervisors. The other guy actually took off for prom, and I said he could. He said he would work the next day for me because I'd be in no condition to come back to work the next day. And so I worked that for him. He came in the next day. I think he worked like a 9 or 10 hour shift the next day. So while it wasn't as bad, but the park was open from I think 10 a.m. that Saturday morning to 1 a.m. Sunday morning, and that was our during our Halloween haunt event. So yeah, it was a little bit of a long shift there. I think I got home right around 3:15, 3:30 in the morning, and I was just beat because 17 hours over fryers and guest, not yelling at. We hardly ever got yelled. At least I hardly ever got yelled at because they saw me and they just didn't want to argue anymore. I'm 6'7" by 350. They didn't really want to argue with somebody like that, which is fair. And usually, fair enough. We didn't have too many arguments in the first place. Usually, it was just kind of a simple mistake we could fix pretty easily. But there we go. There's our queue line completed. It looks really nice. Kind of proud about that. So yeah, I think what we need to do is add a couple, maybe some nice flower bushes in here. Really small landscaping. I think it'll look nice here. Maybe add a couple trees in here. I don't want to do too much in this area right here, like this kind of section here, because I know I'm going to make this a cave section, so this might all get covered up. So maybe at one point we might come back here and look at that. But what we can do is now that we have this fence in here, we actually can work on this market a little bit and actually add some shelves, some more. I love this barrel for some reason. I know it's an explosive barrel, so technically if we accidentally hit a trigger, this whole thing will explode and knock over guests and maybe injure them. I love putting the drinks in there. I think when we did that at King's Island, we would actually have a barrel like this, but like the top foot would be like a plastic barrel, and we'd fill it full of ice and shove Cokes and Diet Cokes and stuff like that in there. So very common thing to have happen. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to go into here and get there's a curb that you can use, or like a road that came with it. I think the studio pack. Yes, pavement 4 meter, no curb. So this stuff is, it's concrete. Let's just be honest here. That's all it is. But I think it looks a little bit better than the temple pieces. But I do like using the temple pieces quite a bit too, Just because it doesn't, it kind of breaks up the same look of the curb, the non-curbed area here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 down here, and then I'm going to make it a group really quick. And that in, and then we'll just edit. And do we? Second question: do I want to make this a little bit like maybe look a little dirtier? I don't think I do. I was thinking about it, but I'm like, I think that'll ruin this area. Just not really ruin it, but get it to the point where we might not like it as well. All right, so let's. You would probably just select all 4 pieces, couldn't we? Yeah, we could. All right, well. Actually take this, we're going to angle it just a little bit to help kind of match it up with the fence over here. Kind of bring it up just a little bit more so it's a little more in line here. And then we'll continue around here. We'll have to start doing some interesting stuff around this fence here because it was how it curves around like this. I think we'll just go like this. We'll have it just, you'll have the ramp come down. And that'll be fine. I don't know how we're quite going to do this yet, but we'll figure it out. Maybe we can. I might have to go get a few temple pieces to help fill in some of this area just a little bit. Because I really don't want it to stick through too much over here. If I do something like this. I can live with that. And then let's go to this piece maybe. Come on. There we go. Like that. Also go ahead and kind of rotate this around like this. Throw this kind of along here. We can rotate this a little bit more to get this a little more level. Got about a half hour left of the stream. I always keep an eye on the time because while I do love streaming, I do want to stick to about 3 hours every stream because I do have to edit all this down to a nice concise video, both for YouTube and my own sanity. So there's that. That doesn't look too bad at all. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit done here, and I'm going to take this and raise it up like this. You might be wondering why I do that. Well, I don't want to put too many things on the path here, so it looks like people can't get through here. But like around here, as I want to put some like shirt stall or shirt racks and things like that. So, yeah, that's so that I can place these out here and not have to worry about people walking into them or walking through them. So the first thing I need to do is actually find the t-shirt racks. Postcards actually could also be very nicely done too. These are from somebody, and I don't know who. No, oh no, that's collectible card ones. Not what I'm thinking of. But there. Hold on. There is. Here's some clothing racks. Let me put these out here. Well, maybe. I think the line to surface was messing me up a little bit here. But do I want to put those, or do I want to put something like this out here? You know what? I think this will work a little bit better since we're a little bit short on space. I think using both, or having something that can hold both clothing and like small items of merchandise might be better. So we do something like that. If it overlaps the path a little bit, I'm not that fussed about it. But do want to use a few things of the Theme Maker's Toolkit because I think there are some fantastic stuff on here. But yeah, there's also postcards. I want to put postcards in here. Number one, my dad's a big fan of postcards, and it's kind of neat to have, so it's neat to see stuff like that in the games where you can actually sell, sell stuff that you wouldn't want to buy. So there's that. There's also another reason, and I think I showed this off in the first time we did this. So these were created by somebody on the Bro Nation Discord. I don't remember who it was, to be honest with you, but You know what? Let's put these over here. Like that. Let's see if I can find it. What it was, they had a postcard contest, and I actually entered it. And while I didn't win, this was the qualifying round for the the summer bro down. If you were on the Discord there, you can remember that. I don't see. One of these cards is actually mine, and oh, there it is. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. So yeah, you can see here some Jeeps. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. You can see this is what mine was. You can see my name's there. So it's pretty neat. Didn't go past the qualifying round, but it was still a rather fun thing to do. And now you get to have that in the game too. So it's still pretty neat. At least I think it is. So let's go ahead and continue around this way. There's a poster rack that I saw right here. That'll slot in pretty well right here. Hopefully we can cover a little bit of this. Oh, we can hopefully cover a little bit of this up. Something like that, and that just sells posters. I know for some reason they always sell posters like this in parks. Still not 100% sure why, but people buy them. You know, people like them, so I guess that's the reason why they would sell them. Let's see here. There's those sunshades that I was talking about earlier. Let's see. What else can we put in here that would make sense? Oh, I forgot about these things. So I was going to add these in last time. And why in the world are you excited about this? So these are what we always call them Barneys in food service. They called them banana boats in rides. They have 4 or 5 different names, but they always mean this. It's a garbage collection thing. That essentially, these things would be full of garbage, and you could tip these. We had special ones that we could use that we can actually dump those out into big dumpsters that they had, and then a truck would come around about every 2 or 3 days and empty the dumpsters out. So a little bit easier on that front. You know what? As we probably should, we're gonna put a wet floor sign here, because I get a feeling that, especially coming off a water ride, that this floor would probably be a little wet. All right, it looks like that is it. Is there anything else we could maybe do a t-shirt rack over here, just to help cover up the building a little bit? But we also wanted to put a door there, so I'm gonna put the door here. Is there another place we can maybe put a shelf or something like that? Maybe we can help fill that in just a little bit more. And you might be wondering, this is kind of odd to put this stuff outside. And you're correct. But a lot of stores would have. I mean, when I worked for Kings Island, we actually had stores like this that they were kind of mobile, or we can actually take them down really quick. Something like that. But yeah, they were always mobile. We could put them up, tear them down really quick, or we had covers for everything, so we could just throw a cover over everything and be okay. So it's not like it's too far out of the realm of possibility. But let me do something like this. Let's go ahead and put the floor back in here. Maybe. There we go. There we go. And now we got a nice little concrete pad here. People can walk through the store here, kind of browse what we got for sale here. They might buy something, because there actually is a working merchandise store there. Also, I think I might put 1 or 2 of these up as well. Oh, okay. I'm trying to figure out what in the world's going on here. I know what they're doing now. So we'll do something like this. We're down like this. Then we use these shelves here. They actually go like this. Hold on. See if they actually position snap. And then doesn't look like they do. All right. Well, that's a pity, but we'll fix that here. open up the Steam Workshop. Hold on, let me get that out of the way here. Alright, let's rotate this back around to where they should be here. Lower them so we can get them right along here. Not 100% sure what that black line. I don't know if that black line is supposed to be the back or what. Do something like this though, and then we move them up just a little bit so they match with the crossbars there. Something like that. We got a nice little shelf there. And I think this will work out pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect, but yeah, I think this will be nice. We have our people coming through here, but we also have some shirts we can go sell. So yeah, let's go ahead and get some stuff on display here. The top shelf, we won't do a backpack yet there. I'm trying to scroll through here so we have a lot of games prizes that they would sell. I'm trying to scroll through here. You know, if I had thought about it, I would have, you know, either had somebody or made my own t-shirt for Thunder Lakes. We could have retextured all of it. But I think a Gulpy plushie might be pretty cool to see. Something like that. Maybe the rest of this could be Gulpy t-shirts, just different ones. Let's see here, like that. I think we also make, oh, come on, I want the shirt, there we go. Let's go ahead and make this like a green, because that's, you know, Gulpy colors. And I think we can just do something like this. Just kind of continue this along here. It's not going to be the most, most sparsely populated shirt thing, but, and you know what? Right here, I think we'll switch over to a red. Because, I mean, you know, Gulpy's kind of that reddish, you know, there we go. That'll work. And all these are not on that, on the rack there, so we'll have to fix that here momentarily. Like that. Because there probably would be more red shirts than green. Let's be fair here. That's usually how. For some reason, that's all. You know, we can. You know what? We can probably actually include this into the foundation. So just we have one big piece. Fair enough. We won't be able to. It'd be kind of hard to select some of this stuff, but let's do that. All right, that didn't work as I thought it would. Let's do this though. All right, why aren't the shirts being selected? Well, this isn't good. Why aren't those? Alright, that's really odd, but alright. So let's rotate these just a little bit and move them back. So there's those. Alright, so we got those shirts in. Looks pretty good. Those are kind of our Gulpy. This will be our Gulpy shelf. I mean, fair enough. I mean, Disney does sell stuff for Coke. I mean, that's what, you know. They used to have a Club Cool, which is a neat little place. But, you know, so I guess you can say that there's places like this in parks. I'll have to kind of wedge this one in here, but I think that'll work. This is Cosmic Cow. So let's see if we can find a Cosmic Cow shirt. There's one of the Gulpy shirts. These are the hoodies. Probably wouldn't put one of those here just because it is super warm. I mean, this is a water ride. You really wouldn't want to wear a hoodie on a water ride. Some people probably would. Let's see if we can find it. See if we can just search for it real quick. Aha, there we go. Come on, game. There we go. So we'll do a white and maybe a pink, maybe. I think that will look proper, especially for Cosmic Cow here. That looks good. Kind of the same with the Gulpy shirts. The white will probably sell out more than the pink would, because you find stuff like this. When I worked in merchandise, there's certain sizes that sell extremely fast, and then there's sizes that won't sell at all. There's colors that won't sell at all. There's colors that will sell out almost instantly. It's pretty crazy when you have stuff like this. Let's do something like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. When I worked there, anything between like an XL and like a 3 or 4X would always sell out. The mediums and smalls we always had in stock. Anything black or gray, we were always, usually we would sell quite a few of those. We would have quite a few of those in warehouse, but things in like orange, really like bright colors, unless it was tie-dye. Tie-dye we sold really well on, but like just solid colors like this, we'd have a hard time selling those. Why? Not really sure, but you know. Another Gulpy plushie down here. And then, what other items could we sell on this? You know what? There's coffee mugs. You know what? We probably won't put them. We'll probably just put plushies on this end. You know what? We'll just do some more Cosmic Cows. One shelf down at least. Come on. It's going to drive me crazy here. Alright, let's see. What is the... I selected... Alright, there's 3 things selected. So that should be the only 2 there. The camera can cooperate now. And then we'll only do one on the bottom shelf, just to kind of show that maybe we've sold one of these, and one of them... I have an idea for the other one, like, you know... let's see... There we go, so I just want one. And this one will be rotated and fallen over. Because, you know, that usually will... Plushies and stuff like that are some of the hardest things you can actually keep like looking proper. When my first my first full year as a supervisor in merchandise, I used to run a store called Kids Corner, and they had a lot of plushies and stuff like that in there. And that wall, we had a whole wall of just plush toys like this, and always one of the hardest things to maintain. But yeah, honestly, this looks really good. I think I'll leave this backside a little maybe blank. I don't know quite yet. I'd rather have more things on this side of the shelf, because this is where most of the traffic's going to be coming from. On this side, you're going to have some people, but really these are probably just going to be people browsing these items. And really also, second thing, I just realized that you're kind of off the path. You really don't want that to happen. So yeah, let's do something like that. Let's see what other... I think here I do want to do some coffee mugs. Let's see, what we got? I just type in mug, maybe. There we go. So this is just a souvenir mug. Oh, there we go. They come in 3, so it's very nice. to put all of them up. I'll probably put like every other shelf there, and then put the Planko ones in. These not do they not have a logo on them? Oh, there they are. There's, you couldn't see them. All right, well, we'll do them in blue, since that is kind of the Planet Coaster look, the blue and white there. So that's pretty cool. Put one on the bottom shelf here. There we go. Now, honestly, a mug shelf would never look like that because people pick them up all the time, or kids just like hit them, and like or people brush by them and they move around. They never look that good unless you're closed and you're cleaning up for the night. That's the only time they look really good. So there's that. Let's see, what else can we put out here? I'm trying to think. We need to put some shirts out here, and I think I want to do the another Planko shirt over here. See if I can find them. That's the first thing, if I can find them. Chief Beef. Maybe if I just type in T-shirt. There's that one. Let's see what other ones. Worst, Tiki Chiki Sushi, Burrito, Chief Beef, Chow Mein, Churros. See, really, it's this one. All right, well, we'll just do two sets of this. So part of it will be or one side will be white and maybe blue, kind of like Planko colors again, and then the other side might be like red and maybe orange, or maybe red and orange, or might do something like that. And maybe this won't be as stocked well. Oh, you know what? We'll even put I think a little listing idea we can do for this. Something like that. What I'll do is I'll put a bunch of, like a box of, looks like a box of shirts over here. Looks like maybe they're trying to restock them. Now, fair enough. We actually probably, you know what? I even have a better idea for a scene. Because, come to think about it, we would never actually put a box of shirts out here. We would actually have to put them on hangers first, and then we would. So what we would do, as a manager, what I would do is I would hand the associate a box of hangers and a box. Well, probably had a box of hangers behind their counter. So what I'll do is I'll put a couple shirts here, maybe a couple shirts back here. Looks like they're actually putting them on hangers, so that it looks like they're ready to go out. So at least in white. Let's go ahead and rotate this 90 degrees. And let's get these shirts in a different color now. Let's get them in orange, because why not? They probably wouldn't sell, but you know, I like orange, and this is kind of the part colors too, so the blue and orange. Also the channel colors, so it's kind of fits everything, so totally okay with that. And then on this side, I think we'll do red. I think red's a good color too. I'm doing a nice deep red. Like so. There we go. Now what we'll do is I'll show you what I mean here. Is I will duplicate this, pull this up here. Look like this associate, hopefully, is looking like they actually are selling this shirt. Well, also selling a shirt, but also has a couple back here that, in this case, she is folding. Get down in here. And we would literally just stack them up like this. Oh, perfect like that. We'll do something like that. Let's have a couple, so they might have been a little busy. There we go. And so now it looks like that she's preparing to put more shirts out, but maybe just haven't quite had a chance yet to put them out on the shelf. But this is actually starting to look really nice. I'm really kind of proud of myself for doing this, but yeah, it's I think it's well worth well worth the time we spent on it. I think we only spent about 20 minutes on this, actually going through and building all this, and it looks really nice. Fair enough, a lot of this is Theme Maker's Toolkit, so other people have put more time into this than I have, but you know, that's fair enough. But let's go ahead. I think I'm going to move this shelf around like this into this side here, because it kind of, the area it was in was just kind of there. There wasn't really much around it. Thinking I might need to put some other things here. I don't know yet, but I would figure they would have some other stuff around here. But what I also want to do is I want to put somebody out here. So a store like this would probably only have one person working on it. Do that. But, you know, it's still a thought that... Oh, come on, let me select the person. They would have somebody out here, maybe as a manager, helping them. So let's do this. Let's first of all set him to max amount of money, because then they don't get upset, which I don't think they get upset anyways, but shoot. Work roster, standing, and then we'll do what what's his hat? Hat should be tan. Something like that maybe. Okay, and then go to purple. And we'll make him a merchandise associate. I think that's a great, maybe kind of a cool thing. So, move him over to here maybe. Maybe he's working on these postcards, I don't know. Because he'll just be standing here, you know, just kind of hanging out real quick. You know what? We'll actually move him over. Oh, pause, please. Move him, please, to here maybe. And essentially what we would do, if we had some extra associates, we'd have them out stocking. They would help folding t-shirts, or they would just kind of be around the store if people needed help, or to help catch people who were... that's pretty cool. I saw these shirts here. It's pretty neat. Just to help people, or to help, you know, it would also help deter theft if people were actually out on the floor, you know, talking to people and things like that. So, always a good thing to have people, you know, extra people out there. Is this person... Oh, here we go, staff. We'll also give her the merchandise treatment as well, just to kind of help, you know. I think it looks kind of neat. I mean, this is stuff that I remember doing, or like when, like, you know, we have to use like uniform inspection, things like that. So, you know, memorization of uniforms is kind of, the uniforms like this are like secondhand for me. So I think it's kind of neat though. But yeah, this looks like a merchandise store that I would either be managing or something like that, and have managed in the past too. So, but also while I'm thinking about it, I do want to add just a little bit of the wood curbing here, just to kind of help, kind of, you know, so we don't see the edge of the concrete. Let's see here, if we just kind of rotate this just a little bit. Yeah, I think we'll stick it right there. And I'm still looking for something to put on these shelves, and I don't really know quite yet what we're going to put there. See what we have here. Backpacks maybe fit here. Yeah, I mean, they really would. This like bottom shelf here. Not, I mean, they kind of did, but they started clipping when I moved on to the next one here. Maybe these folded shirts. We'll put some folded shirts in here, because I mean, there would be stuff like this in a park. There would probably be like Kings Island specific ones. Like they would have special Kings Island ties, or something like that. So yeah, I mean, they would have stuff like this. They usually didn't sell very well, but you know, we still had them. Something like that. Let's see, what else? You know, we really couldn't put too many Gulpy plushies over on the shelf there, so why don't we kind of stick some over here. We have a little bit of space. Looks like maybe one got sold, maybe. And we'll stick the last one right there. And the other three are actually kind of floating a little bit, so let's fix that really quick. It's not perfect, but from from a couple feet away, it looks fine. I want to have a King Coaster plushie. How big are these things? Oh, they're massive. I mean, I'm tempted to put them on top here. I think that'll work. Uh-oh. Oh. I think the game freaked out a little bit there. But I think we're okay still. Let's move this guy. Let's rotate him around here. And let's get him back to where we wanted him. I didn't even know they had these, or I would have put them out with the King Coaster stuff. We'll do something like that. Like that. Because very rarely we would actually have empty shelves like that. If we were, especially if we were moving stuff around, we would do it really early in the morning. So when guests came in, those shelves were pretty well stocked, if not completely stocked already. So it's not like it's ideal that we would have stuff really open like this. That's all too big. You know what, I think for now we'll be okay with this. If we back out a little bit, we can see our full merchandise store here. That looks really nice. What I might do is actually put a little fenced-in area here where it looks like there's some covers here, or maybe put an awning here. We also need to finish this part here, but yeah, just kind of make it look like there's a place where we can like roll these out behind somewhere, or put them inside, so that if it does start to rain, that these things wouldn't be wet or destroyed or anything like that. So, guys, we got about 3 minutes left of the stream, so let me just walk you through kind of what we did today. In the park here. So we got Thunder Falls, we got the new sign there. Haven't really done much with this side of the entrance yet, but if you come over here, you actually can see a lot of work has been done to the queue area here. This is kind of a fake one, but it's hard to tell now with all the kind of blended in section here. We'll work a little bit on the foliage here though, but we do have this building here. This building was not here when the building was here, but it was kind of just a rough shell. You walk into the Thunder Falls Museum here, you can see kind of what the history of Thunder Falls is and what they found here and why they want to go on more expeditions here. You see over here just more stuff. That big ball probably needs to have the rope fixed there. You can kind of see what kind of the history is here. You walk out here, we got a nice queue area now. Probably next time we will work on this section of the cave and everything like that, so we can finish off this section here. I still want to make this a nice viewing area for people, so we can come through here. I won't go through the whole queue line here. We'll wrap around here, and here's the entrance to the ride. It looks pretty nice, but as you exit, come out of here, when you put a little fence here, which I think we can do no problem. Walk out, what floor side, but then you actually come out into our nice merchandise shop. I really like how this has turned out, so I think this whole stream has been really kind of a very it worked out really well. There's a lot of progress got done. We still need to work on this fence here, kind of the back side of this building here a little bit, but kind of want to save that until we get the landscape or the cave in here. We can figure out what we're going to do with the rest of this building. But I really like how this has turned out, guys. I'm glad you guys were joining me today for this. Go ahead and let me go ahead and save the game, and then I will. You know what we'll do? We'll save the game. We'll have the first two people walk through our merchandise store, not buy anything, and then I'll do a little outro for you guys. So it's saving now. There we go. Let's watch the first two people walk through our merchandise store here. Looking all nice and pretty. Oh, there's even more people coming on this side. That's pretty neat. So they probably would actually come to the store first, but I'd say that. No one's going to buy anything. What do? They walk right up to the counter and buy something. Well, guys, it's how this park usually goes. I say something, and then Well, it does need a little tweaking with how people are kind of phasing through here. If you kind of look at it from afar, it kind of looks like people are just lining up to buy stuff. So happy about that, guys. Everything's working like it should. I'm happy about it. So yeah, let me go ahead and do my outro. And guys, thanks for joining me for the stream today. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for the new followers. We've got 3 new ones today. It should put us around 22 or 23. Don't remember how many exactly we had at the beginning of the stream here. We're getting about halfway to that 50 mark. We're trying to go for that 50 followers goal to get the affiliate phase for Twitch. So guys, if you could, please leave a follow if you haven't already. If you have, I really do appreciate it. If you're watching this later on YouTube, I do appreciate that as well. Leave a like and comment if you like the video as well. I do stream 3 days a week, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays we play some sort of tycoon game, usually something like Planet Coaster. We've been playing that for the last couple of weeks, but we have played things like Roller Coaster Tycoon, Prison Architect, things like that. So there's a variety of games usually, but since we've been building in this park, it kind of got the idea, kind of got the bug back for Planet Coaster. I've been working on that quite a bit more. On Thursdays, we've been playing Stardew Valley. We're almost done with the summer of year 2. We are going to end the series at the end of year 2. We'll hopefully get the community center done. We're getting Pam's house done, and there's a couple other things I want to get done before then. But it's been going really well so far, and I hope you guys can join me for that. And on Fridays, we actually play one of my favorite games of all time, seems like. It's MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. If you haven't joined that, or if you haven't seen that before, I would highly encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and watch there. Just kind of get a feel for that. It's multi-ton battle robots fighting it out with each other and blowing a lot of stuff up, and it's a great time. So if you guys can come out for that, that'd be awesome as well. But for today, that is going to be it from me. I hope you guys can see you guys on Thursday for some more Stardew Valley. Guys, have a great day and a great Wednesday, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good one, guys.